Hi, my name's Dr. Pat Luce, and I want to give you some health and life lessons from running with the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. Now, this event became famous 100 years ago when Ernest Hemingway went over there and got to see this event. He actually wrote about it in one of his books. His relatives later wrote about him and how it impacted his life. This event started more than 700 years ago. For 9 days, the people of northern Spain come together, and they have bullfighting, they have running with the bulls and parties. It's a very festive event. And it impacted Ernest Hemingway so much that he returned 8 times after that first event. And he actually did the second time run with the bulls himself. So I had the privilege of going over there in this town where the bull running is covered, and there are 1 million plus people that come together to watch this. This is a city square where the action takes place, and what they do is they put fences up through the big area and narrow it down. So it's about a 15 or 20 foot wide path that these bulls run in that's fenced in. And there are people hanging out every window imaginable. This is actually a picture my wife took with the running of the bulls. Anyone can run and it's free. You just have to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning and be inside the fence at that time. After you're in there, the police come through and they make sure someone's not carrying a backpack or things that could cause hazards, and they boot a few people out if they think they're not capable. But there's 2,000 people in this narrow path that they're going to send 12 bulls through. This is me. You see me there? That's me. So here's a close-up. There I am inside the pen. And here's what I kind of thought of when I was there. We're all in the run. Now, we may not all be in the run with the bulls, but we're all in the run of life. And there's a lot of similarities. So I want to give you 10 health and life lessons from my experience running with the bulls. Number one, we need to have a plan, because a plan can save your life. And I know it's a fairly dangerous thing to do. The day I ran, there was 1 person gored and 5 hospitalized. But not a lot of people die from this. But I wanted to do it the correct way. So I went the day before with my wife, and we walked this half-mile street to see what was going to occur. And basically, there's 4 areas that you can run in. Now, the first area is a half mile from where you end. The bulls run 25 miles an hour. So you can't keep up. They're going to be gone, and it's all going to be over before you know it. So I didn't want that. The second place has got a couple nasty curves, and curves are not good with bulls, so I didn't want that. Number 3 was in the plaza that I just showed you, and that's where they fence the section off fairly straight until the end where there's a nasty curve. And number 4 is a narrower place where the bulls kind of get funneled down to go into the Coliseum. So I picked number 3 after talking to the locals and seeing that that probably was the best place to be. The next thing I learned in talking to the people that had done this before is that there's 5 lanes you can run in if you're running with the bulls. The place you don't want to be, where would that be? Right in the middle. So you don't want to be in the middle. But I was kind of surprised that the next place you don't want to be is on the outside. Now that's because if that bull gets against the rail, you have nowhere to go, because those fences are 6 foot tall and you're not going to get through them. So the best place to run is in these 2 lanes. And then you just got to get ready to run. And it is a major, major rush. It was very exhilarating. Now, running the race of life without a plan has bad consequences too. Most people, by the time they are 60 or 70, are in poor health. They have diseases, medications, and disability, and they end up spending the last third of their life in that red no-fun zone. So you got to have a plan in the race of life. Here's a few facts. No plan, 30% are going to end up in a nursing home. 70% of people over 65 will need long-term care. 90% of older adults take one medication, 20% take 10 medications, and 50% of all adults have multiple comorbidities. Now, if you remember that word, comorbidities were the things that caused people, when they got COVID, to die. The more comorbidities you have, the more likely you're going to have serious health problems. Running the race of life with a plan has a much better outcome. Now, there's two things I want you to know from this. Number one is your lifespan. We all want a longer lifespan. That's great. But you also have to have a long health span. A long life is no fun if your health is not good. And we've been able to help people have a long life and health span. We want you to have optimal health and vitality. So run with a plan. Figure out what you need to do. Wayne did not have a plan. He was heading down here fast, but we were able to help him regain his health, lose 60 pounds, and get off all of his medications. And the day we took this picture, Wayne said, "I feel 30 years younger." And his body was 30 years younger. Number two, you got to choose a good plan. This guy did not choose a good plan. He's running down the center, and you can see he's nice enough to be taking a friend along with him, which is not good. There are lots of bad things that happen if you don't have a good plan. Here's one thing. Not a good plan. Cross in front of the bulls. So which plan do you choose? There are 800,000 plans out there. And all of these plans may have some good components, but I want to encourage you to choose a plan that helps optimize the function of each of your body's 7 systems. If you've got a plan that gets each of these systems working correctly, you're going to be doing really well. Because every one of these systems is essential for you regaining your health, losing weight, and being healthy. Candy from Iowa did not have a plan. She had obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, medications, but lost 100 pounds with the 7 systems plan. And this is her 13 years later, still maintaining her progress. Number 3, some plans look good but are not. So these guys standing on the wall, they have absolutely nowhere to go. They think it's a safe way, we're away from the bulls and we're gonna be all right. But you can see one guy already is catching a horn up there, and it's not gonna be a good outcome. There's another guy running on the wall, and I wanna zoom in on his face so you can see it. He is having the time of his life for about 1 more second, and then it's gonna be really bad. There's lots of things that happen if you have the wrong plan. If you got diabetes and you're just going the medication route, you can plan on cutting 6 years off your life. And if you add more medications to what you're doing as a diabetic, you will shorten your life even farther. Being overweight can knock up to 10 years off your life. So we got to get rid of that unwanted body fat. And if you look at life expectancy, it decreases with each additional chronic condition you have. So 68 is what I am today. If you're a 67-year-old and you have no chronic conditions, you can plan on living to be 89.6. That's a long life. If you have 10 chronic conditions, you can live to be 72. So it makes a tremendous difference in not only your lifeline, but your health line. Number 4, having a coach can be very valuable. I saw this picture of the run and I noticed this down here. I said, is that guy trying to grab his friend to help him out? Is he being a coach to this guy? And the next picture showed, yep, absolutely. He's about to jerk him out of the path of the bulls there. This guy doesn't have a plan. And that horn is pretty close to him. If that bull turns just a little bit, he's going to get a horn. Larry had the wrong plan. His plan was go the conventional route, and when you need something fixed, you take a medication and another medication. Before long, he's on 10 medications. He's 50 pounds overweight and not enjoying life. Well, fortunately, we were able to coach him with the 7 systems plan, lost the 50 pounds, got off all 10 of his medications. Number 5, danger signs can be seen. Now, when I was talking to the locals before the run, I was told, you're not going to see the bulls coming because they're shorter than the people are, so you won't know it until they're on you. But there is something you can do. Look at the wire up there in the air, because they're going to run a TV camera down right in front of the bulls because they're filming this. And if you just watch that wire up there, you'll know when you need to take off running. And that's exactly what I did. And it happened to be just perfect timing. I'm running along, I look over, and there's the herd of bulls right beside me. Now, there are also signs that you may be in danger health-wise. Here's one sign, a crease in your earlobe. Now, people that have gone through my program know this is Frank's sign. It was developed by a cardiologist who started noticing all of his heart patients, or almost all of them, had that diagonal crease in their earlobe. If you have that, it could be a danger signal for you. Steven Spielberg, you have a problem. Bruce Willis. Now, this was interesting with Bruce Willis. I was looking through all these celebrity earlobes, and he's actually got an X on his earlobe. And as you know, he developed frontal lobe dementia. Great guy. Sorry to see that happen. There's lots of other signs, like Shamroth window test. It can be a significant indicator of lung cancer. When you put your fingers together like this, you want to see that little triangle there. That means things are good. If that triangle disappears, it's not a good sign. Finger clubbing. Acanthos nigricans. Now, I see this every month in a teenager. It's that darkening, thickening of the skin in the back of the neck. Now, it can also be in the elbow area. It can be under the armpits, the breast or groin area. But it is an indicator that you may have high insulin, which leads to metabolic syndrome, or you may have diabetes. When I see this, I say, we need to check your blood sugar. And most of these people are diabetics, and we're seeing it more and more in younger people, unfortunately. Another way to check for high insulin that can lead to metabolic syndrome is checking your blood levels. But if you don't want to do that, just pinch your belly. When your insulin levels rise, you tend to get more fat around the belly. An eyebrow sign. Eyebrow sign, a loss of the outer third of the eyebrow, that is a sign of low thyroid function, hypothyroid. There are hundreds and hundreds of these simple signs that can give an indication that you have some health issues, some warning signs. So the physical signs, but also if your body mass index is creeping up over 28, that should be a warning sign. If you've got high blood pressure or you're on blood pressure medications, that can be a warning sign. Don't just plan on taking blood pressure medications the rest of your life, I want to encourage you to fix the problem. Even your pulse creeping up. The higher your resting pulse is, the sooner you're going to die. Ideally, it should be 65 or less. If your A1C is over 6, you're going to be a diabetic. If you're on multiple medications, it's a bad sign. So there are lots of indications that we can get that you have problems. Here's a very significant sign. Roy had chest pain and ended up having an angiogram and found he had a blocked coronary artery, significantly blocked. He needed a bypass. His doctors were insisting that he did that, but he didn't want to have a bypass. So instead, he started working with me, and when this first angiogram was done that was very similar to this, he couldn't walk 1 block without sitting down and resting, and he was taking nitroglycerin to relieve the chest pain. A year later, he had lost all his weight, his energy went up, his lipids were all great, and he went elk hunting in Colorado for a week with his grandson and hiked the mountains. No problems. When he got back, his cardiologist insisted they redo the angiogram, and they found out it had opened up. We now know that these changes begin in 3 weeks following a healthy plan. Now, this is me and Roy 28 years after that happened. Number 6, avoid things that kill you. Now, that sounds kind of funny with me running with the bulls, but there's one place on the course called Dead Man's Curve, and they said, this is one place you don't want to be. It's a very sharp curve, and you can see they've got boards up there because the bulls come around there and they can't turn that fast and they slam into that wall. And I don't know if that's a person down there or not, but that's not a place you want to be. So what kills us in America? Well, heart disease. We've talked about Roy. Heart disease is almost always preventable and almost always reversible. Cancer. You can lower your risk for cancer tremendously, 50% for many different cancers by just taking vitamin D. Intentional injuries, right, like running with the bulls, don't do that. Chronic respiratory disease. It has been years since I had a cold or flu, and if your systems are working right, you should not be getting these problems all the time. Stroke and vascular diseases, significantly preventable. Alzheimer's disease. Studies show if you just eat healthy fish once a week, you decrease your Alzheimer's risk by 60%. Diabetes. Type 2 is very, very frequently reversible. We help people do it all the time. Influenza and pneumonia. Kidney disease, significantly connected with what you're eating. And how about suicide? Can we do anything about that? Your brain's omega-3 content is extremely important for your mental health. And there are simple tests that can tell you what your omega-3 levels are. The bottom line is good nutrition will prevent 95% of all diseases. That's the famous Linus Pauling that said that, and I believe it. So the 7 Systems Plan has a healthy diet as one of the key things that we encourage people to do. Just having a healthy diet helps get each of these systems working correctly. Number 7, people can trip you up or they can help you. People can get you off track from your program. People can give you bad advice. They can make it harder for you to stay on track, or they can help you meet your goals. And this is Jenny, our health coach, who helped her sister lose 100 pounds and get healthy. So surround yourself with a good group. Number 8, do the right thing when you get knocked down. Now you're just thinking normally, you're running with the bulls, you get knocked down. What do you think you should do? Bounce back up. That's when you really get in trouble, because there's 11 more bulls behind that one. So they tell you to curl up in a ball, put one hand under your head, one hand over your head, and stay there till the herd passes. People that die are usually the ones that get knocked down and then they get back up. So what about people with health problems? What do you do when you get knocked down? Well, Patty got knocked down because her defense system wasn't working correctly. She was overweight and having severe joint pain. I mean, so much pain that she couldn't use her computer mouse. She couldn't wear shoes. Her feet were so painful. She was afraid she's going to get fired because she was an accountant. So she asked her rheumatologist, hey, can I just change my lifestyle and help this problem? And he said, no. You need to go on this medication for the rest of your life. And after looking at the side effects of the medication, Patty jumped into the 7 Systems plan. Rheumatoid and many other problems are caused by a malfunction of one of your systems. In rheumatoid's case, it's your defense system. And if that system's not working right, it's going to help lots of other systems to not work correctly either. So we got to get each system working correctly. So Patty jumps into the 7 Systems plan, and in 6 months, I got a nice email from her saying all signs of rheumatoid are gone. She's not only wearing shoes now, she's jogging in those shoes, and she's lost 65 pounds. Brandon got knocked down with a diagnosis of diabetes. He's just 14 years old. And unfortunately, we have lots of kids today becoming diabetics. His marker for diabetes, A1C, was 9.7. Now, he could either go on the drug route, and maybe multiple drugs, or he could work to fix this problem, fix the system that was causing it. And that's what his parents chose to do. The whole family jumped into the 7 Systems plan. They lost 135 pounds, and it's not just about weight loss. Again, it's fixing each of these systems. In 90 days, his A1C went from 9.7 to 7.5. That means his diabetes is gone. No meds, diabetes gone. Lastly, number 10, sometimes bad things just happen. They tell you the most dangerous thing in running with the bulls is if one gets separated from the herd and starts going backwards into the crowd. And that's what this guy's doing. He got separated. When they get separated, they get really, really angry and they start doing bad things. And you can see there's another bull up here. So we got people in between. Bad things sometimes happen and you can't control them. Ron was just getting ready to jump into the 7 Systems plan. He knew he had some heart and health issues, but he didn't know they were that bad, and then he has a significant heart attack and ends up having a quadruple bypass. Now, he could just go the conventional route, take medications the rest of his life and live with that, or he could, as soon as he was able, jump into the 7 Systems plan, and that's exactly what he did. This is now a decade later. His artery health is great. He's not on any medications, and he is enjoying life and very happy that he fixed his systems. So I want to encourage you to run the race with other successful runners. That's very, very helpful. Don't try to do it on your own. Join a group. Now, we have a group of thousands to help people with support. And if you want more information, check out the 7systemsplan.com for some great resources. And I want to thank my wife, Teresa, for being with me on my life and health journey. She has been a very, very good helpmate and soulmate. I want to encourage you to run the race well and to run to win.